So we have another baloney pony thinker who got canned because he was chasing tail at work. And not just chasing, but getting tail, it turns out. This guy's name, and let me just start out. This guy seems like, at least from what I read, a real douchebag. He's an anal douche nozzle. I mean, he's a piece of shit. He's married, probably has some kids, and he's out banging hoes in Vegas and hitting on girls. It's just disgusting behavior. Everyone should have the right to work without this kind of bullshit. And so, men, to keep yourself safe, do not crap where you eat. Don't do it. Don't say anything to a female at work unless it is a professional interaction. I mean it. Don't, oh, wow, we're just talking about this. Okay, look at this scenario real quick. Say you're talking to, I don't know, the new girl. She comes in and, the new hire. Hey, how are you doing? Hey, you have any kids? You married? Where do you live? And all this other shit. That's SH. You might think it's small talk. In her mind, she's saying, why is he asking me if I have kids? Why is he asking me if I'm married? Or where I live? Is he going to stalk me? You know how the game is played. They have vivid imaginations. There could be no intention whatsoever. Completely innocent, making small talk. And your shit is boxed up, and they hand it to you as they escort you out of the building. This is a real and present danger, gentlemen. This is not exaggeration, hyperbole. This is not, oh, Hamster, you must be drunk again or something, making shit up. No. So this is the story of Ed Henry. Now, Ed Henry was some, I guess, pretty big anchor over at Fox News. I don't know the guy. No, I don't think I've ever seen him. Or if I did, I don't know. I recognize some names over there, but this guy doesn't stand out. So, beginning in 2013, and they keep referring to this woman as, oh, she was just young and starting her career. She was 24. She's an adult. Adults can make decisions. Women, I know it's a shocking secret. Women have agency. They can make their own decisions, even if they're bad ones. They can still make them. But as we all know, consequences and responsibility, accountability, no. That's a male thing. That's not a female thing. So to gloss over it so this video isn't forever, she started in 2013 at Fox News. Evidently, she started having some kind of relationship with this Ed Henry. And she claims, of course, it was the power differential because he was a bigwig and she was way at the bottom of the rung. That's why she did it, because she felt her job was threatened. Blah, 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 blah. And eventually the guy kind of said that, but not really. So this is going on for years, right? Started in 2014-ish and right up until 2019 or 2020 when she finally went to HR to complain. But she didn't complain about the right thing, apparently, because they didn't take her seriously. It's like, oh my God. Anyway, let's get to this, probably the worst part of the story. Now, a couple of times, if you read through it, by definition, legal definition, she was grapefruited. Okay, even before this incident. There was a forced Hummer, which by definition is grapefruit, right? They say it's SA, but we all know that it's not. Defined as grapefruit under the law. So in this section E, this is on page 19, Mr. Henry grapefruits Miss Eckhart. Again, this would be for the second time, maybe third time. In the fall of 2016, Mr. Henry sent Miss Eckhart a link to a song entitled Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy by Big and Rich. Miss Eckhart, confused, asked Mr. Henry if he was trying to tell her something. He responded that I want you to ride me. Yes, I'm telling you that. Okay. All throughout this legal document, it is claimed that she tried her best not to have communication with this guy, right? She didn't want to talk to him. Apparently they had their little thing and she felt intimidated, didn't want anything to do with him anymore. But she kept going back because of the fear that she said she had of losing her job. But it's this point where I think the story gets very, very interesting. So it was the fall of 2016, sent her a song to this thing. And who knows if they were having activity in the interim. Well, they don't really say, because that would probably take away from their narrative if they were having, frequent interactions. Just pointing it out. So between fall of 2016 and Valentine's Day 2017, the talk between these two, from him especially, became a little darker as he revealed an apparent obsession with BDSM, bondage, discipline, dominance, submission. On Valentine's Day 2017, Mr. Henry wrote to Ms. Eckhart, F you and your safe word. You will know when I'm done. Isn't that an interesting thing to say to somebody out of the blue? Safe word, bondage, submission, dominance. Kind of weird. Just out of the blue. Boom. Hey, by the way, your safe word. Huh. When Ms. Eckhart tried to end the conversation by saying that Mr. Henry needed to be nicer to her because it was Valentine's Day, he responded, "Nah, Valentine my ass." When Ms. Eckhart again attempted to end the conversation by sending 2 emojis to Mr. Henry, he responded, they say violently. I don't know how you get this out of the text, but okay. "Get on your knees again and I'll give you your Valentine." So not long after Mr. Henry asked Ms. Eckhart to meet in person, and they did, so on and so forth, met at a public place, and I don't know what that's going to do. She's expecting people to read her mind. I don't know. In another wildly inappropriate string of text messages, Mr. Henry wrote the more impaired Miss Eckhart was, the better. He also wrote that he liked Miss Eckhart owned and submissive, and asked her for more, anal. Says here Miss Eckhart did not at any time have anal. Well, why would he ask for that then? More of it. Yeah, maybe I'm just looking a little bit too much into the details. He also responded about something else. He responded to her hashtag obey or hashtag discipline. Now, isn't the BDSM thing is that, right? Where one submits, one is the dominant, and stuff happens. The people get off on it, I guess. Right? At some point in 2017, Mr. Henry asked Miss Eckhart to meet him for a drink, blah, 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 blah. She again complied because she was afraid he would retaliate. And this is another line that gets kind of, So they're talking about BDSM stuff. They're texting back and forth, at least he is, about BDSM stuff. And he explicitly told her if she did not obey him, she would be disciplined. Isn't, again, that a BDSM kind of thing? Rather than, if you don't obey what I want you to do, I will get you fired from your job. You can interpret it, I guess, a couple different ways. But since we're on the topic of BDSM, one would think maybe that's what he was talking about. No? She met Mr. Henry for the drink, told her he was getting his own show. That made her even more fearful because it'd make him more powerful, so on and so forth. Of course, she went back to his hotel room. The moment that Mr. Henry and Ms. Eckhart entered the hotel room, Mr. Henry forced himself upon Ms. Eckhart, pinning her against the wall and forcefully ripped off her clothing. Mr. Henry then immediately forced Ms. Eckhart's hand behind her back, put on handcuffs. Ms. Eckhart pleaded with Mr. Henry, telling him the handcuffs were painful and hurting her wrists. Mr. Henry did not stop. Instead, he threw Miss Eckhart onto the hotel bed, naked, helpless, and handcuffed. He took some pictures. And, of course, then he grapefruited Ms. Eckhart while restrained. He performed sadistic acts on her, including hitting her in the face and other stuff. It says Miss Eckhart did not consent to any part of this. The day after this, Miss Eckhart told Mr. Henry that he had physically injured her. Specifically, she told him in text messages that she had sore wrists. They were actually bleeding. A mark on her buttocks, a broken nail, and a bruise on her leg, among other injuries to her body. Now again, the allegation here is this guy violently attacked this woman, and the next day she's texting him. Sorry, that's pretty odd behavior. Mr. Henry did not even attempt to hide the fact that he was violent with Miss Eckhart and sent her more WhatsApp messages. All that stuff is on record somewhere, right? All this communication, they'll find it, right? Some of the messages, you'll come back for more. We'll let you know if when avail so you can get slapped around some more. He also wrote, "You know who your daddy is. Good long session last time, left you bruised, battered, dazed." Mr. Henry further admitted the sadistic and non-consensual nature of his actions when he wrote to Ms. Eckhart, "When you are owned, you don't get a choice." And again, my little understanding of BDSM is that's kind of the way it rolls, right? Am I wrong? So this guy apparently still bothered her and harassed her and sent her emails and all kinds of, horrible shit, so on and so forth. On February 10th, 2020, Miss Eckhart complained to the HR department, finally. Well, what did she complain about? She was experiencing a toxic work environment at Fox News. Wouldn't it have been better to report she was being SH'd at work by this guy? Wouldn't that have gotten someone's attention more so than toxic work environment? What does that even mean? HR didn't follow up on this particular complaint, which might be a flaw in the HR department at Fox News. We don't know. But it turns out on June 12th, about 5 months later this year, Fox News retaliated, as they wrote in this legal document, against Miss Eckhart by informing her that her employment would be terminated effective June 26th. On June 25th, she told him about the lawsuit, and a week later, they fired Mr. Henry. So, what can we say about this just from this particular document? Well, it seems that, at least to him, she was consenting to the activity. And then when it got weird at the end with the obey or be disciplined, sounds like they were into the BDSM stuff. It doesn't sound like that would be unexpected. So, like I said, this guy is a dirtbag. You know, he was banging all kinds of women and he's married and various other things. But is that what happened here? Was this actual criminal activity? Well, guess what? It wasn't. You know why? It wasn't reported to the police. It still can be reported to the police, by the way. The statute of limitations in New York is 10 or 20 years. Plenty of time. Do you think we'll see the criminal charges filed? Not likely. But they're suing Fox, this guy, a bunch of other people for a ton of money. And conveniently, in the civil case, the burden of proof is clear and convincing evidence, not beyond a reasonable doubt. Wonder why it's not going to criminal court. Anyone, Bueller? Is there more to the story than we're being told? I suspect more will come out. But the bottom line is, he probably should have been fired for engaging in this activity. Even if consensual with someone at work, you do not ever do this sort of thing. Just get it out of your mind. Do not. James Maxwell, thank you for listening.